both took part in that, and that was a really, really great event. But yeah, it looks like we're going to be getting started here pretty soon. So pretty much as soon as we see RaikouRider enter 1-1, you will see that difference where it says Mario start in the transition. And it looks like we're off. Best of luck to both runners. Okay, so I mentioned this in the last race, but we're probably going to be seeing a sort of more calculated version of this, where both players are taking safety strats and making percentage plays and all that sort of good stuff. So this is definitely going to be very interesting. And even though I am a big fan of the SNES music, we'll be switching over for now. Actually, I really like the music of both versions. Okay, so I'm noticing that MrCab didn't grab a power-up at the start of 1-1, and that's actually something that I would often do as well. Just easier to get P-speed in 1-2. I'm pretty much noticing straight away as well that RaikouRider has a tail at this point. Again, sort of just in the theme of we're going to see a lot of safety strats from both. And actually, having commentated MrCab's first race as well, we're going to be seeing a lot of those safety plays as well. Now, MrCab jumped at the start of Fort, probably just trying to make sure it didn't get P-speed. Sometimes, if you don't know whether you're going to get it or not, that can be kind of treacherous. Also, RaikouRider having the tail early, it gives him just a clean run straight up. That will be a time save. Okay, both are keeping hold of the tail at this point. They're probably wanting to do that just to make 1-6 a lot easier. If you're not fully comfortable with doing 1-6 without the tail, very, very treacherous, very difficult, quite easy to die. Yes, both keeping it very close here. You definitely shouldn't be shocked that both versions are allowed. Pretty much any of the All-Stars games, you know, in tournaments you're going to see both versions allowed. Again, running on the Super Nintendo version gives you absolutely no advantage. Actually does put you at a pretty big disadvantage. I think it loses about well, it is over a minute that it loses anyway, in Warpless, I'm pretty sure. So for the most part, both versions are going to be allowed for accessibility reasons. There probably aren't too many people, probably other than RaikouRider, that if they had both choices, would actually choose the Super Nintendo version. Also, some very nice swag from RaikouRider there, grabbing those extra 1-ups. And the first part of the run for Raikou having Fire Floor. Yeah, that sound glitch was pretty awesome. So someone in chat might give a technical explanation for that. I mean, it's to do with the sound the tail makes whenever you swipe the tail, but I'm not sure how many frames either side of the sound it is. I'm sure someone will mention. The All-Stars version is slower because of the transition between each level. The All-Stars version, it says Mario Start, and that isn't present on the NES version, so every time that happens, Raikou will... Mario Start. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. Another difference between the All-Stars version and the NES version is if you're off screen on the All-Stars version and shoot a fireball, that fireball no longer exists. So levels like 3-2 can be made a bit more difficult. Possibly some of the airships as well, if you're relying on fire. Also, a really weird thing about the All-Stars version is if you're holding, I suppose if you're holding X or Y going into the stage, which is the button to run, oftentimes Mario is going to shoot a fireball at the start of the stage. It's really, really strange. Would make levels like 3-4 a bit more difficult, where you're relying on art. Okay, and MrCab using a star going into port. I did this in his last race and allows for easy speed start. So as I mentioned before, you're going to be seeing a lot of these very, very calculated plays. Won't be adhering strictly to the route. When I say route, I mean like your item route. You're going to see a lot of interesting stuff like that. Yeah, I was thinking it was 5 frames, but I wasn't sure if it was before or after. Okay, MrCab able to avoid that hammer brew with a music box. That won't be needed, but does need to take a bit of a detour for that. The hammer brew on RaikouRider's screen is off somewhere to the right-hand side. Now, there was some fairly new knowledge about how to determine what hammer brew is which if you've lost track of them. Basically, after they do their moving animation, their shuffling animation, they will start facing one direction or the other. I believe the hammer in World 2 faces right. Actually, let me just get the document up. I believe it works the same way between All Stars and the NES version. So hopefully with that in mind, Raikou will be able to work that out. Well, we'll have a look. Oh, it's left. Okay, sorry. So yeah, after this level, we're going to be able to see which hammer brew is which. Now, if I was upstairs, I would have this written down next to me, but I'm in a different location to usual. Okay, so this should be the hammer then. Hopefully... Wait, what? He was facing... Oh, you said left. I have the memory span of a gnat. Okay, yeah, you did say left, so clearly not the hammer brew. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but that extra music box can be a bit of a blessing at times. It is optimal not to get it, but at times it can work out for you. Sorry about that, I'm just being an idiot about hammer brews. Okay, nice pyramid for MrCab. Okay, and thankfully Raikou didn't have extra insult to injury by having a runaway hammer brew. Yeah, I was just about to say they're probably just going to see RaikouRider break these blocks with the tail. So I'm going to suggest that MrCab probably has a lead of about 40 seconds at the moment. We'll see just after they both grab the wand here. Also, World 2 airship it's quite nice. It's got a fire flower, so I will be grabbing that. The NES version is faster. It's faster by just over a minute or so for this category. Again, a lot of people have been asking, oh, why are both versions allowed in? And it's mostly for accessibility reasons. If someone is only able to play in the All-Stars version, then it's definitely no advantage, actually quite a disadvantage by using it. Yeah, I mean, some of the in-level changes for All-Stars are very unusual. The two things that always come to mind for me are the Cheap 3-3. It's moved back a bit, it allows you a clear run for P-Speed. And the start of 4-4, where you land on, well, where you're on dry land instead of just going to it was for World 7. Okay. I actually believe that MrCab lost a second or two on that text screen there. Oh damn, I didn't get the 1 times. Also noticing both in chat, so both fairly comfortable with having a little chat between levels and stuff. In general, for tournaments, I actually find being in chat and sort of just relaxing a bit helps overall. Okay, so World 3, lots of things to pay attention to. The first thing to point out would be those bridges that go up and down. MrCab, talking about the Koopa. Oh, the Koopa wasn't there. Yeah, normally there's a Power Koopa just coming up to that Roblox. Yeah, but basically, those bridges go up and down. Both will be wanting to cloud over level or World 3 level 6. And basically, if you fight both Hammer Bros, beat levels 1, 2, 3, and the 4 without dying, it's the perfect amount of bridge animations going up and down to go across. So a runaway Hammer Bro, that can be a bit of an issue. Dying in a level as well actually means you probably do want a runaway Hammer Bro at that point. Also, noticing that RaikouRider has 33 coins, so if your coin count is a multiple of 11, and your 10th digit matches that, so say if RaikouRider had 1,030 points, one of those Hammer Bros would be changing into a coin chip, which it's a big time loss. Very, very slow auto-scrollers. I believe they go at the same pace as the World 4 airship. So hopefully we won't see any runaway bros. So yeah, after 3-2 and 3-3, players will be paying attention to their coin count. Okay, Raikou just playing it a bit safe on that bottom Hammer Bro. Definitely don't disagree with that play. And hopefully that Hammer Bro will stay put for RaikouRider. It would be very, very unlucky for that to run away at this point. Oh! And wait, what has happened to MrCab? I mean, that other Hammer Bro has a hammer. That's gonna be pretty costly, assuming that they haven't switched over and I haven't noticed. This could be interesting. I mean, I really hope somehow those Hammer Bros have switched over, but it's very unlikely. Okay, so MrCab is down 1 hammer. Probably will opt to go for World 4-4-1 at this point. I highly doubt we'll be going for think it's 6-7. Either 6-7 or 6-1 and or 6-2 and 6-3. Yeah, that's very unfortunate. Now, the one upside from that is MrCab has skipped 2 Hammer Brews, so you know, World 4, Fort 1 probably won't be that much of a time loss. But it is a bit unfortunate. Oh, and MrCab had to fight that other Hammer Bro anyway, so even more unfortunate. Yeah, I just realized that at the last moment there, also. So absolutely, we'll just be skipping out on hammering World 4. I think even taking that into account, though, MrCab probably would still have the lead, though. Cab probably ahead by about 50 or so seconds whenever I counted there. Yeah. Exactly. Okay, so coming up to this Wendy fight, definitely preferable if you can get a fire kill in Wendy. Very, very easy to lose power-ups if you're just doing a manual fight. So all the best to Cab here. It's also very easy for these fireballs to go straight through Wendy as well. Yeah, pretty nice fire kill. Just needing an extra half cycle or so. Now, this is going to be a bit tougher for RaikouRider. Won't have a fire flower going into this fight. The power up in this level is another leaf. Also, Raikou going for more 1-up swag. Yeah, it's a pretty good lead for now. We'll have to do 1 extra level, unfortunately, so we'll see how that plays out. And RaikouRider managing to defeat Wendy without taking a single hit, which fairly well done. Those rings can be pretty horrible at times. But yeah, even taking into account that extra level, I feel that MrCab still has a fairly decent lead at the moment. It's been a good run overall. I feel that this... Yeah, it's been a good run overall. Yeah, the fortress isn't too long either, thankfully. It's very hard to keep fire until the end, so we'll see how that plays out. That would be an extra bonus, for sure. Okay, 4-3 coming up. Very tough level. Well, it's a very tough level with full B speed. Often would be talked as people's favorites. Ooh, MrCab nearly getting through there with full B speed. But yeah, overall, I think that went pretty well. I think that'll probably be another time save over his opponent. Okay, be careful. Oh, that was spooky. And MrCab taking a bit of a detour here. Possibly just a bit safer, I'll be honest. Not too familiar with the reasons for taking this room. Possibly just a good way to hold on to Fire Flower. Okay, so nicely done for MrCab. After 4-3 here, Raikou will just be skipping over that level. So, yep, MrCab still very much with the lead here. Also, pay attention at the start of 4-4. This will be our first, well, pretty much the only noticeable difference between both versions in the levels. So MrCab being very careful not to get sniped by Lakitu here. Can be... That was my fault. I will say that was my fault. Yeah, sometimes that Lakitu can be very, very accurate. Okay, so in the NES version, you go straight into the water at the start of 4-4. You will see the difference coming up in RaikouRider's screen here. What jumped out to you? Is it a big difference or a small thing? And MrCab grabbing the star there, I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, very spooky going into 4-4 to Small Mario, but manages to get through there in one piece. Very well done. Oh, and MrCab grabbing a star. That's not what he's looking for. Okay, so probably will be grabbing the other P-Wing in World 5 then. That's a bit unfortunate. Will be having to rely somewhat on decent RNG, and RaikouRider getting the correct Hammer Brew. This just got a bit closer. Also, accidentally hitting that P-switch block is the worst. So hard to get up there. I absolutely hate it. Oh, right. I actually never noticed that difference before. It's interesting. Well, I mean, it's unfair in the sense that it's slow. Well, I mean, it's not unfair because the only other alternative would be RaikouRider wouldn't be able to play in this tournament, so he pretty much knows what he's signing up for. Same for myself, playing in the Super Nintendo version. So it was either this or not being able to participate, pretty much. But yeah, unfortunately, that Hammer Brew coming back for RaikouRider, very, very unlucky. Yeah, Howdy from the airship. This is one of the longer levels. I think it's it's the slowest in terms of how fast the auto-scroller moves. Also, MrCab making his coin count 78. In World 5, they will both be paying attention to their coin count. They don't want any multiples of 11. 78 is the furthest away from the next multiple of 11. No, you are not allowed to use speed up or any emulator only tools. But good thinking, I like it, I like it. Also a very good point from MrCab. Okay, RaikouRider with 60 coins possibly would be recommended making that 67, but continuing on. So again, why I'm talking about the coin count is if your coin count is a multiple of 11, so for example 66 coins, and the 10th digit of your score is also a 6, I would create a coin ship out of one of the Hammer Bros, and that's in World 1, 3, 5, and 6. Okay, so RaikouRider trading in his Fire Flower for a tail. Oh, and think that's Larry Koopa. I always forget what you call these ones. Pretty confident that's Larry though, or Roy maybe. Bit of a runaway there, but nicely handled for Cab. Going into 5-1 with fire is a nice advantage. Allows you to get rid of some of the enemies early on, and then at the end to get speed. MrCab not quite getting the P-speed at the end of 5-1, but still went pretty well. Okay, coming up 5-2. It's going to be interesting to see how aggressively both these players are going to be playing this. You don't want to fall down to the bottom. Falling down to the bottom, very, very costly. Okay, MrCab just playing it tiniest bit safe there. And it looks like we have a difference of about 35 seconds at the moment. So Raikou did make up a bit of time in that last world. That extra level MrCab had to do. Okay, so these Hammer Brews switched for RaikouRider. So that piece, the P-Wing's gonna be on the top. Okay, Raikou just taking it a bit more aggressively. With the tail, you do have a lot more leeway. Mitch is playing in this tournament. I believe his match is actually coming up in about half an hour. On Speed Gaming number 3. Okay, I didn't actually catch which Hammer Brew this was for MrCab, so hopefully this is the P-Wing. It's the P-Wing, very nice. And also hopefully this other Hammer Brew will move out of the way. And you bet he does. Very nice RNG for MrCab. Has to be feeling pretty good about that. RaikouRider taking a power up from the Mushroom House. Interesting. Yeah, RaikouRider playing on the Super Nintendo version. Super Nintendo version is a bit slower than the NES version by about a minute or so. And that pretty much just comes down to accessibility. If that's the version people are only able to play on, there's absolutely no reason to disallow it. Okay, so that was an interesting decision from RaikouRider taking that extra power up. Normally, if you see someone hit up a Mushroom House, it'll be that second Mushroom House in World 6. Grab a hammer suit. So, very interesting choice there. Okay, 5-4 has been a very treacherous level for a lot of players. Hopefully both can make it through here in one piece. Also, the game is quite susceptible to lag there when it gets to those waterfalls, so that can cause some missed inputs. Yeah, emulators allowed. Pretty much for NES, emulators tend to be pretty accurate. Wow, both those swamps nicely dodged by RaikouRider. Very well done. And very soon, Raikou will be joining MrCab in the clouds. And I think MrCab will be hoping to dodge this Hammer Brew. I think he already has a music box, so doesn't actually need that Hammer Brew if I'm correct. I don't think either of them have used a music box at this point. But yeah, if that Hammer Brew gets out of the way, that'd be nice. Well, actually, at that point, it was guaranteed to be the good RNG for MrCab there. Yeah, most of the time, if you're wanting to dodge that Hammer Brew and don't need it, most of the times you will be fighting it, unfortunately. Yeah, currently the main speed gaming channels would be speed gaming 1 through 6. There is a 7th and an 8th one that is in case of backup. Okay, so MrCab just using his Cloud over 5.9. Pretty long auto scroller, but it does put some pressure. 1 second. Oh wait, no. I was about to say it puts pressure on beating this level, but actually you would be sent before 5.9, so just never mind that. Thank you very much for the 3 months in a row. Much appreciated. Cab has got that lead from pretty much every world. He's been playing very, very well here. Yes, thanks very much again, your old dad. Feel free to correct me if I was wrong there. So yeah, we're looking at the World 5 airship separating us now. I think that's about 1 minute and 30 seconds roughly. Or, well, maybe a bit less. Raikou passing up in the fire floor. And it is nice to have 2 power-ups going into Fortress here. It allows you to do a double damage boost. Plus, at the end of Fortress, you want to be Small Mario anyway. Yo, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome, everybody. And MrCab taking the damage boost there. So yeah, you'll see why he wants to be Small Mario. Getting this start of the Boom Boom fight as anything other than Small Mario, yeah, good luck. Oh, he's not getting it though. Oh, he just about gets it. That is incredible. Also, very nice safety strat for MrCab. I am so surprised he got that there. That must have been like the last frame or something. Okay, so 2 Hammer Brews on the right-hand side of World 6 again. The one that's facing right after the shuffle animation is the one that both of them will be wanting. Yeah, MrCab, I was actually about to mention that you had 11 coins after the raid by 11F. Okay, so now RaikouRider will be skipping over these first 2 levels. Again, it's nice that he has the tail, is able to take the double damage boost. Oh, okay. MrCab will just be taking a shell up. Clear out these munchers. Actually, it almost looked like he was going for the despawn strat. Not too sure about that. Okay, RaikouRider not taking the damage boost, which is interesting because if he's wanting to kill Boom Boom with the star, then he will need to take some intentional hits. Okay, he is taking the star, but he won't be able to make it. And MrCab getting more nice RNG here. Thankfully, those Hammer Bros were positioned correctly. It's so common to see that other Hammer Bro move just back in the way where you're going next. Yeah, I think MrCab, pretty much other than World 3, will be fairly happy with those Hammer Bros. Or, well, those World 4 is a bit tough as well. But yeah, World 5 and World 6 have been fairly nice. Okay. Just a bit concerned there about the end of 6-4 for RaikouRider. Will have been aiming to hit that P-switch, didn't quite make it. Oh! And I disagree with that block, that went right through that enemy. That was a bit unfair. Yeah, MrCab won't be getting any P-speed strats over the big H, the second H of the run. Yeah, that's true. Better hitboxes in the SNES version. Also, another disadvantage to running on SNES is things don't tend to despawn as much. Actually, most of the despawns that you would see in the NES version just don't happen at all in the SNES version. Okay, so coming up, we're going to see how these Hammer Bros are looking for RaikouRider. Also, MrCab just completing 6-9, one of the hardest saves in the game. Oh, I must have missed it. He's already got the good Hammer Bro. Very nice. Okay. Well, at least it kept out of the way. Here, RaikouRider just taking a more manual approach through this level. Definitely flying underneath this stage can be a bit intimidating, because if you lose P-speed, you're dead. There's pretty much no way around that. Yeah, so just as MrCab said in chat there, I don't mostly agree with this play. I think it's actually a very good play. He's going to be aiming to keep the tail through airship. He will be attempting the 7-1 clip with tail, and then just be keeping that tail for 7-2 in order to just make that level a lot easier without needing an extra P-wing. The alternative to that would be to use your, well, this is assuming you don't have an extra P-wing, to use the P-wing in 7-2, and then keep the P-wing through 7-3, and then use it forward. The non-tail strats for 7-2 are very difficult. Getting P-speed at the start of 7-2, very, very tough. Also, it's definitely worth pointing out that MrCab has a PB of 58 minutes and 6 seconds. RaikouRider with 1 hour, 1 minute and 7 seconds. So possibly on pace for PB here. RaikouRider. And probably, if not for that runaway hammer or runaway star in World 3 causing him to have to skip over the Hammer Bro, MrCab would probably be on PB pace as well. Has had a pretty solid run in my opinion. Okay, so MrCab holding on to the tail, coming out of the World 6 airship. Again, this pretty much gets around not having an extra P-wing and being able to use tail in 7-2. which is a play I definitely agree with. Okay, so RaikouRider losing his tail in this fortress, but probably will just pick it up in the World 6 airship. Also, everybody get your guesses in. How many attempts at clip? I'm going to say 4 for MrCab. Although, I did have the advantage of being able to sort of see a couple. Now, this clip with tail is a little bit more difficult than with just Big Mario or Fire Mario. But gets it, I believe that was 7th try, but I guess you guys will probably be counting better than I was. That's just my feeling, I wasn't actually counting. I think it was 7 or 8. I should have had my copy paster ready for answering that question. Normally it doesn't ask so much, but basically the SNES version's slower, and it's allowed pretty much for accessibility reasons. There's no reason to disallow it. If someone could only play in the SNES version and it's slower, then it's pretty obvious that you shouldn't disallow it. Okay, RaikouRider actually passing up on the tail here. Is going to have to be careful not to get hit between now and 7-1, otherwise the clip is pretty much off the table. I'm thinking that he's not going to try 7-1 clip as Small Mario. Oh, very, very close in that final hit. Yeah, if that was like any sooner, probably would have got hit. Okay, Cab will have to be a bit careful here. Should be fine. Okay. Nicely through 7-3. Also doesn't have to worry too much about power-ups. He will be using a power-up for Fortress and 7-6. Okay, so 7 to beat MrCab on clips. I'm going to say 4. And gets it in 3 attempts. Very, very nice for RaikouRider. He has to be feeling pretty good about that. Saving some time against MrCab there. And it's going to be interesting to see his approach to 7-2. Yeah, 3 is very nice. And MrCab using another P-Wing going into 7-6. And this is why RaikouRider grabs the tail. Oh my word. Okay, you can blame that one on me as well. That's grim. That's unfortunate. It probably would be worth looking at the approach MrCab takes. Or, as I suggested earlier, I think this very much would be on the table for RaikouRider. But if you don't have that extra P-Wing, you can use a P-Wing going into 7-2, then just hold your tail through 7-3, and then, I mean, 4 isn't an issue if you have tail. So probably would be less costly than grabbing that extra power-up from the Mushroom House. Although it is a good Mushroom House to hit up in the event that you want tail, because that item will always be the same. It'll always be a Tanuki suit. Okay, so MrCab will be taking on 7-10 here. So I'm imagining he's going to be clouding over Fortress. There isn't too much time difference between these levels, but this level is insanely safer compared to 7-4-2. I think that's probably where we're going to see MrCab use that extra cloud. Now, if RaikouRider was feeling gutsy, possibly could take on Fortress. Now I have a feeling that he's going to be using it using the cloud for Fortress. Pretty much tips. Pretty much the only difference between mechanics is if you're holding run going into a stage on the All-Stars version, most of the time Mario will throw a fireball. It's a bit weird. Oh, and, well, I think there's a bit less lag. It's not too much of a big deal, though. Probably most noticeably the first auto-scroller in World 8. 5-4. You don't have to worry about lag. Oh my word, MrCab. Going straight into that hitbox. It's weird. Well, I suppose the other thing to point out would be that all the despawns that you would see on the NES version, most of them just don't apply to the SNES version. So that actually makes it even more difficult. Also, definitely don't disagree with RaikouRider taking on this stage instead of 7, 8. I always forget what numbers they all are. I mean, unless you're doing that other stage with full P speed, this probably could break even. It isn't all that long. Yeah, MrCab has to be on some good pace here. And that's even with having to do the extra level, which is insane. Okay, so RaikouRider actually is taking on 7-9 here. It does have a small advantage of being able to fly up at the beginning. Its slide is a bit faster. Yes, MrCab is playing on the original version on the NES, and RaikouRider taking on the All-Stars version. All-Stars being, well, just over a minute slower for this category. Pretty much based on that, absolutely no reason to disallow it. Well, there we have it, folks. MrCab is only 12 seconds behind, has 2 hands in PB, so well, your dead center average luck actually would be saving time over his PB, but you can't get 1.5 hands, so it is going to fall either side of that. I'm also going to put it out there that I think RaikouRider probably is on PB pace as well. Or at least not, or if not compared to splits, definitely can make it happen. RaikouRider currently has a PB of 1 hour, 1 minute, and 7 seconds. I confirmed that just before the race. I feel like you can probably still make it happen. Also, this probably would be a good time to get the hand guessing game in. As it stands, we're guessing the total amount of hands for both players. Generally speaking, the maximum amount of hands a player can get would be 3, but it is possible to get a death. Go back. The maximum amount of hands we've seen for one player has actually been 5, I think. I'm going to be extra nice this race. Guess 3. Last time I guessed 4, we got 5 out of 6 hands, unfortunately. Also, any official guesses will need to be exclamation mark guess followed by the number. As it says there in the little message, if you're a sub or if you've donated 250 bits, there's a leaderboard, so... Yeah, a lot of people say that. Whenever they were younger, they always got 3 hands. Oh no! I have no idea what happened there, but I just looked over and yeah, I didn't see a Mario on the screen. So a very unfortunate death for RaikouRider. Actually, maybe I can... Yeah, I just missed that on the restream. Damn, dude, that's unfortunate. Now, the one small advantage is RaikouRider will be able to get full power-ups again. It will be a Fire Flower, which could be a small advantage if he manages to take it through World 8. Okay, MrCab getting some boat swag. We'll see if it pays off. A very important RNG manipulation there. Okay, MrCab, I'm going to say you're going to get 1 hand, and it'll be the middle one. We'll see. We're going to know pretty soon. Come on, hands. Oh! We do have that middle hand. Now, if MrCab manages to be lucky enough to win a coin flip and skip out on this next hand, we're going to be ahead of PB pace. Come on! Ah! Why? Well, this is another 2 hands run, unfortunately. Cab's still on pretty damn good pace here. Probably can't be feeling bad about this in a race scenario as well. Okay, so to stay consistent with my guess of 3 overall, RaikouRider will be getting 1 hand. Pretty much confirmed. Oh yeah, also MrCab using one of his leaf power-ups before going into this stage. Definitely not a bad call. Makes this a lot safer. Also, makes 1-8 a lot easier, or 8-1 a lot easier. Okay, and MrCab using his last P-Wing going into 8-1. Again, definitely can't disagree with that. A Bullet Bill just cruising along there. And MrCab taking the Sand Trap shortcut. We're really seeing him bust out safety plays now, which, again, I definitely don't disagree with. Just wants to lock down this victory. And he's definitely on pace to do so as well. Okay, so if MrCab has a star left over, he will be using this going into Fortress. I will be picking up a Fire Flower. Yeah, he's got 2 stars left over. He's playing on the SNES version. I think the GBA version is like a lot different. the other versions, but the SNES version is fairly faithful to the original. Okay, can MrCab get the one cycle here? I reckon he can. Oh! He actually could have made it as well. Pressing up a slight bit too late. Unfortunate. But does get the wall clip swag. Very nice. Nice to show that off. Yeah, All Stars just over a minute slower, unfortunately. Again, that was nothing to do with the execution. That was 100% my fault. I guarantee you. Should know better. Possibly, Glib. Possibly. A reminder, everybody, that MrCab's PB is 58 minutes and 6 seconds, so this is getting very close at this point. Okay, it is coming up to the time where we're going to see hands for RaikouRider. Best of luck. Yes, MrCab doing the Oglid strat, pretty much. Oh dear, that is not a good start for RaikouRider. But yeah, you can stay at the right hand side of the screen and just do the jumps as they come up. Keep firing fireballs and you'll be 100%. Also, the first hand typically being the least favorite hand. Bit tricky, fairly treacherous, loads of enemies. Oh dear. And we're seeing a second hand for RaikouRider. But it is MrCab heading into Bowser's Castle first here. And definitely this has been one hell of a performance. We're probably going to be seeing a safer fire kill for MrCab and Bowser here. But keeping it quite close to PB, I don't think he'll pull it off at this point. Oh my word, and gets a third hand as well. Well, folks, whoever said 5, again, you're lucky winners. Yeah, the 5-hand double, that's definitely on the side of bad luck. Look at how insanely close this is, my word. I don't think I've seen that before now. It's probably fairly common, but like where Bowser doesn't actually break through the block. Oh. Congratulations to Mad Matt, but an even bigger congratulations to MrCab taking this down at 58-29. That was one good run, and definitely taking things into consideration like, oh, I don't know, missing out on a hammer, having to do an extra level. Like, that is just such a good run. MrCab will be feeling really good about that. But this has been a win for Team Boom Boom. Big congrats. Again, I was told to say this, but Team Boom Boom is the best team. Anybody who disagrees, you're just wrong. Yeah, fair enough. That makes sense. But I imagine we will have MrCab joining us very, very shortly here. Hello, big congrats on that. That was such a good run. Just waiting.
It was all right.
You. So, how do you feel after that?
So, I hate the World 3 Hammer Brothers. Let's start there.
Yep.
They, they are not my favorites. A couple of other little things here and there. Got 2 hands, so I'm not happy about that. My PB would be like lower, like because my PB has 2 hands at this point. So 57 is nigh. And there's just like there's still a few levels I know I need to work on, like the end of 4-3, 4-1 a little bit. You know, just like little things here and there. 8-2. Yeah. Oh wait, Glib's reminded me of something.
Okay. Oh really, my bad? I'm sorry about that. I must have misread the instructions. Never mind then. Still good though.
There we go.
I haven't had too much of a look at the bracket, but I'm sure you're fairly familiar at this point who you're probably going to be going up against. Having a look, so that's going to be the loser of number 32, which will be Glib. Wow. Yeah, not making it easy for you, for sure. Both those guys did very, very well in both of their races. So yeah, you'll be going on to play the loser of those 2. That's going to be one hell of a match. That's a big one.
That will be good.
I love it, MrCab. Very, very nice, the Team Birdo swag.
Had to get it out up here. I forget which team Glib was on in the relay, but we've got to represent here. I don't know, something about like a bad game like SMW. I think that was Glib's team. Something like Team Bowie? Or is it Team Boo Earns?
Boo Earns. Nice reference.
Alright, let's check Raikou's strats here. You're probably seeing it well before I am.
Yeah, so just going up the stairs at this point, we'll be going for the clip, of course. And we're going to be seeing a manual Bowser fight as well, has the tail at this point. Actually, it was sort of interesting. You were both taking the same, approach to 7-2, but just executing that differently, I guess. RaikouRider actually picks up a power up after 5-2, so basically always the Nuki suit. But I think I prefer your play over that in general.
Yeah, going into a Toad House, like it's not a terrible idea because you have the hammer suit strat that does basically the same thing, yeah. But it just takes what, like, I want to say 20 seconds to go into a Toad House and get an item, even if you know exactly what it's going to be. Like, it's still better than playing 7-2 more often than not.
Yeah. My version of that strat would be you use E-Wing in 7-2 and then just hold on to it until port. Again, it's pretty much the exact same. Actually, I mean, if you get a good clip with tail in 7-1, then that is actually going to save time, the way you approach it. Oh, yes.
Thanks, Chuck.
But, I mean, commiserations just at the end there, that death in the World 7 airship was a bit unfortunate, but big congrats to RaikouRider there. I feel that he played very well overall there. And I imagine whenever he comes in, he will agree.
Yeah, I mean, I like this now. Chuck reminded me at the last second here. It's a 1 second difference from respawn.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, but I mean, that was a really good race. I really enjoyed that. Again, coming into this, I realized it would be a lot more calculated plays, a lot of very interesting decisions that you made, and watching yourself being a very experienced racer as well. Percentage plays are a big part of your game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing I do, like a lot of people talk about 7-1 and it's harder to do with a tail, and it's if you know where it is, I mean, it's still technically harder, I think. Like, the tail makes the subpixeling a little weirder, but you can still get in there. And from there, like, I know as soon as I use that P-Wing in 7-8 these days, oh, 6-8, I should say, I'm trying to keep that tail all the way through World 7. Just makes my life easier. And actually, from there, I'm trying to keep that all the way through the Fort 2, so I don't even have to use a P-Wing at 7 Fort 1. I don't really have a good use for that extra P-Wing, but I have it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I should probably just skip the hammer, bro.
You possibly could use it on 7-9, assuming I'm getting the level right. Like the really long one where...
7-9, I mean, you could, but if you just keep the tail through 7-8, no real reason to keep a P-Wing there either. Yeah,
I suppose. I mean, I definitely agree with using an 8-1 though if you have it. Ooh.
But I mean, yeah, it's like little things like that, and then deciding, you know, just knowing going in, I'm going to play 4 Fort 1 if there's a runaway. I think I've been told no, I should chase down that Hammer Brother and play 3-8 small, but I have no desire to do that. Honestly, that would be my extra P-Wing in that case. And then I'm trying to keep something for 7 Fort 1 and 8-1.
Karua, I'm sorry.
Don't even try, dude.
Jokes aside, that was absolutely the run of my life until World 7.
Dude, what I missed it.
I missed a jump. I let out a... If I had had my microphone on, you'd have heard a pretty loud no. Like, I shouted when I died.
Where?
And that was...
Oh, man. Those deaths on the World 7 airship just suck.
It was about a 1.5-minute loss. However, I can rest easy knowing that this run wouldn't have PB'd anyway. I got 3 hands.
Oh no. Well, I'm happy the first hand did its dark work for me. I have some sort of control over it. I don't understand it, but it usually does what I want it to do.
But other than that, like, that's actually one of the reasons why I prefer 100% to Warpless. Is because
you're not alone.
I think 100% is just a much better category. What I want to do is I just want to get sub-hour in this category and just be done with it.
That's about right, honestly.
So, when's P-Switch %?
I should, like, take another look at that, because I remember when we were originally looking at where all the P-Switches were. There's so many just random ones. I think the 4-5 one was the one that I had to point out originally, that whoever was coming up with the list forgot it.
I actually routed it last week, and I did a run of it. It's pretty fun.
Oh, and it's not P-Switch %, it's all switches.
Oh, it's called all switches?
It's all switches. Come on, get with the Mario World lingo here.
Also, sorry there. I didn't realize I was in Lupar there. Oops.
It happens.
I imagine you guys imagine Raikou has discussed the race at this point, or sorry.
A little bit.
A little bit.
We talked a little bit about World 7, but nothing else. I don't know where else anything else you wanted to say about it, Raikou?
Just the death in World 7 and the 3 hands, but other than that, up until 7, like 7 airship, well, I guess I lost my Tanuki in 7-2, because I actually stopped for a Tanuki in 5-2, take intentional damage on Lemmy, so I can do the 7-1 clip big, which is much easier.
Yeah, I actually forgot about you losing Tail in 7-2. That was really unfortunate.
Yeah, that losing Tail in 7-2 was probably the first big mistake I made the entire run. Which, for a race setting, and this time for a race setting isn't even bad, considering the 3 hands.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean,
that's like the weird thing with Mario 3. Like, if one thing goes wrong, you just lose so much time.
Yeah, it's massively unforgiving.
Believe me, I know.
Like that.
Believe me, I know. I've been running it for a while.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure this run PBs if I don't have the runaway in World 3 too. So it's like, oh no.
That runaway, I mean, I actually think that overall that was a good decision just to skip both of them. I mean, it's unfortunate that other one decided to come back at the end, but it was an interesting play. Like, I didn't actually notice until you skipped over both, and I was like, uh-oh, what happened? Oh dear.
And then I still had to fight one. Ugh.
Yeah.
Just RNG was not on my side at all during this race. I got 3 hands, and I think I got every extra Hammer Brother possible, other than the very last one.
Yeah, that sounds about right. World 5 and World 6 Hammer Bros were very nice to Cab. It couldn't have been much nicer, but World 3 definitely made up for that. And yeah, like you say, I think you had every extra Hammer Bro except that star in World 6.
So, see, this is one of the reasons why I don't like Warpless, is because, like, that is by far the best run I've ever executed, and then pair that with almost the worst RNG possible. And like, even if you take out the death on the airship, this is like a 102.
Yeah, no, it is really unfortunate, and if you were to try and summarize Warpless, that probably would be a good way to do so. Good execution, bad RNG, unlucky, you don't PV, so yeah, that was unfortunate.
Just run 100%.
Exactly, like, a lot of people don't like 100% compared to Warpless. Nah, I'm happy to take the auto-scrollers, that's fine. Not even, like, that unbearable anyway.
Not really. Like, most of them aren't that long. Just having to lose. I mean, I run lost levels, so I'm well aware of how RNG can just ruin a run, but it's not on the same level as this game.
You'd probably be hard to find any Mario game or category that would compare to the RNG in this. At least for retro Mario games, anyway.
So that's just. So when's the 100% tournament? I'll be all over that.
Yeah,
I think this is the
absolutely.
third Warpless tournament, and I don't think there's been a hundo tournament yet.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, guys, let's do it. Any percent, no wrong warp, all 3 hands. Must play all 3 hands.
Oh yes, doing all 3 hands and it actually being a good thing. Yeah.
Actually, if we want to talk about meme categories, what about all switches? That's actually a fun category.
I saw a couple of people talking about it in chat, but I'm fairly unfamiliar with that.
I think I'd rather play all white toad houses.
Oh god, I'm sure that's a totally fair and not unforgiving category.
It's only a little unforgiving.
No, I would actually, well, I mean, in theory, be interested in that, but it sounds like it's a bit of a tough one. But yeah, again, a big congrats there, Cab. I mean, you probably admit yourself that you played really damn well there. If not for a couple of small things, this would have been a big PB. You PB'd in your last race as well, right?
My last race, I got, I think, something that was also close to 58-30. During the week, I got a lower 58, still with 2 hands. But, yeah, I just with this tournament and being able to look at it, things are clicking a little bit more at the moment. Just taking a break from everything else and just kind of playing this, and it's just, oh yeah, let me just try this. Oh, let me try this, and well, here we are on borderline 57. And actually, with I think I got a gold in World 6. My sum of best is now 55-55, which makes me laugh, if nothing else.
Wow, doesn't get much better than that. No more golds allowed.
Yeah, Grat's nice. Just Grat's nice.
So, you're right. I've got my next match, and hang on, challenge is going nuts. I mean, I got to see who I'm playing in 2 matches. I want to look at my next meaningful match.
I think your next match is the winner of Oglib and Ibubba, I believe.
I mean, I mean, we know what's happening there. I'm gonna beat Glib, and then we're gonna play the Haxor, Great White Hope, or who's in 36. I know Glib's in chat, so I have to call him out right now.
Yeah, well, there you have it, folks. I mean, I'm sorry I couldn't do your dirty business for you, so looks like you're gonna have to do it yourself.
Well, probably Cujo. I don't think I can beat Cujo.
Yeah, Cujo pretty good. Some would say
Little
pretty
bit.
good at this
A little bit.
Not too shabby. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that match regardless if you're going up against Oglib and Booba. Going to be very close.
That one will be good.
I think they're seated very close. I think it's 7 and 10.
It's 7 and 10. Glib in the last tournament had a little bit of a penchant for getting 57s, to the point that I think there was one race he won by enough that he could sit there, wait for the whole 56 to go by, and then just go into the door at 57. And but he's definitely improved a lot since then. I mean, he had to grind out some times for the relay last year too. I honestly don't know anything about iBubba, but we'll see.
iBubba is an incredibly strong Mario 3 randomizer player.
Yeah, and did incredibly well in his first race as well. Just a couple of small things cost minutes, of course.
That 55-40 is good.
But Glib didn't give me a single chance in that race against me. He played so well, absolutely smashed it. So he plays half as well. It's going to be very tough. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean we're saying that, and I'm remembering now. Glib's actually the better seed. I might be playing iBubba.
Not probably. Sorry, I pretty much considered 50-50.
Yeah, it's a coin flip at that PB range.
Yeah, RNG very much could be the deciding factor, probably within that range as well. It's going to be very important. But yeah, just a big congrats to both of you again. Bit unfortunate how that unraveled at the end there, Raikou, but I mean, you've got some big PBs coming up ahead of you, as if I need to tell you that, so I look forward to seeing that.
Oh, believe me, I know. Sub hour and then all switches because memes.
Nice. I'll be looking out for that for sure and following that. Cab, all the best in your next match. It's gonna be tough, but I'm sure you can apply the pressure and make it spicy.
I've got to duck out too. I actually have another tournament race. Yes, my third tournament race of the day coming up in a little over an hour.
Good luck.
Good luck with that. What is that in?
It's the Zelda. It's a Zelda 1 randomizer.
Go win that race.
There's a bunch of mini tournaments going on that are just a whole bunch of people are in the race weekly, and then the last place player is eliminated every week.
Zelda 1 randomizer is one of 2 randomizers I actually really enjoy.
Oh, it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, that's one of the good ones. So yeah, good luck. Go get them. I've got to run soon too. I'm calling a race on Speed Gaming 1, another race in this Mario 3 tournament.
And when is that coming up? That's coming up very soon, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think it's in like 10 minutes, so I better like hurry up and get over to the Speed Gaming 1 chat somewhere. I don't know.
All right, have fun with that.
I thought that was probably
also, and SMW's own Calco.
Ooh, it's Calco versus. Oh wait,
Lasso.
Oh, shameful. I shouldn't be forgetting.
One of the Mario 3 greats out there, or at least some Cardinal fan I know. One of those two, definitely.
Well, I'll definitely be there for that to check that out. That sounds like a good one. As always, a big thanks to Glib for putting this together, all the rest of the mods for putting in their work as well, and a big shout out to the Speed Gaming team, as always. In an absolute pleasure.
I don't know if Tech's listening, but I'm about to cut my own stream here, actually.
Yep, same.
Raikou, thank you for the race.
Oh, it was a good race, and like I said, just a little unfortunate how that ended. But I'm gonna take off because I do need to get the room started soon.
Also, I'm so sorry. I was reading Glib's name and I just had a brain thing there. I'm so sorry. big shout out to Lasso. This is absolutely his brainchild. Wow, I'm so impressionable, aren't I? Yeah, Lasso, thank you so much for putting together the tournament. And
I'm still gonna
the
thank
other
Lib for it.
mods. But yeah, it's been a great tournament. Keep up the good work. And see you guys next time. Thanks for having me.